One of the most intriguing, not to mention daunting, parts of Star Wars Legends has always been the new Jedi Order series. Comprised of a whopping 19 novels, this series chronicles the invasion of the Yuuzhan Vong into the Star Wars galaxy as we know it, bringing havoc and destruction in their wake. They are grotesque, masochistic, and ruthless, but they serve as a drastically different sort of villain than Sith Lords or battle droids. They serve as a match for the expanding new Jedi Order and call into question complex philosophical issues about warfare, cultural relativism, and the Force. But who exactly were these invaders, and what was the goal of their invasion? Hi everyone, I'm Nathan Emery, content creator at Youtini, and I'll be your guide to the Yuuzhan Vong today. The story of the Yuuzhan Vong is primarily chronicled through the new Jedi Order series, though there are some important stories to read first before you jump into the NJO directly. I'll go into a recommended reading order at the end of this video if you're not too familiar with Legends but are looking to dive in, so stay tuned. First, who are the Yuuzhan Vong? The Yuuzhan Vong are a species from outside the known galaxy. They roughly resemble a human shape, though their species reveres pain and death as part of their belief system, so scars were seen as symbols to be respected. The Yuuzhan Vong follow the will of their gods and believe that all machinery is blasphemous, hence all of their weapons, starships, and everything else they use are completely organic. That's right, they fly living ships. They pilot organic fighter craft called coral skippers, live on world ships, terraform the planets they invade by the power of their world brains, and communicate with plants called villups in place of comlinks. They have an extremely well-developed caste system consisting of warriors, shapers, priests, workers, and the outcasts, known as the Shamed Ones, all of which come into play in some form or fashion across the series. Their warriors wield amphistaffs for hand-to-hand combat, genetically engineered lightsaber-resistant serpents that coil around their holders' arms when not in use, and perhaps most notably, the creatures can't be sensed through the Force. The Yuuzhan Vong invaded the known galaxy in 25 ABY, but their history goes back much farther. We don't get an exact timeline for the events in the Yuuzhan Vong's history, as several NJO books are deliberately vague about the number of millennia their history spans, but we do know the important events that led to their invasion of the galaxy. The Yuuzhan Vong initially lived in symbiosis with their homeworld in the Force, but their civilization was disturbed by a civil war between two droid civilizations. This war both disrupted their way of life, causing them to leave their homeworld and catalyze their intense hatred of machinery. Stripped from their connection to their homeworld, the Yuuzhan Vong lost their connection to the Force and set off in search of a new home under their new gods and their devotion to pain. The Yuuzhan Vong had been watching the known galaxy for a number of years before their invasion. Therefore, their invasion was well planned out and caught the New Republic off guard. Yuuzhan Vong executor Nam Anor stirred up a civil war between the planets Ramamul and Osarian while simultaneously infecting a bunch of New Republic representatives with the deadly disease. This distraction enabled the first invasion force to make planetfall on Helska 4, where they began their conquest of the galaxy. On each planet they encountered, they would enslave local populations, rid the planets of machinery, and often begin growing their weapons. The early stages of the invasion are characterized by a lot of Yuuzhan Vong conquests of planets until the New Republic learns to fight back. Ultimately, the NJO chronicles the long and often grueling battle against the Yuuzhan Vong's invasion of the galaxy. The NJO and the struggle with the Vong leads to some intense action, but also to some really interesting questions. We see the Jedi especially struggle with questions about life, the Force, and the role of violence versus peace. I won't spoil how the series ends, but if you're intrigued by the Yuuzhan Vong by now, here are the books you should be sure to read before you dive into the NJO. You'll want to read the Thrawn trilogy by Timothy Zahn, at least the first 4 X-Wing books, though the next 3 are worth a read if you're enjoying the series, the Jedi Academy trilogy, and the Hand of Thrawn duology. Finally, you'll want to jump back to the prequels era and read Rogue Planet. If you're a completionist, you can also add in other books like The Truce of Bakura, Outbound Flight, Survivor's Quest, and Young Jedi Knights and Junior Jedi Knights series, which are young reader series that tell the stories of the solo children at Luke's Jedi Academy before they really take the spotlight in the new Jedi Order. Those I listed before, however, are really the essentials to understand the story before you dive into the massive NJO, and all these other books will give you more insight, but they're not necessary to understand the story. And if you need a timeline to keep track of the books, be sure to head on over to Youtini.com. Our comprehensive Legends timeline will give you all the information you need to keep up to date and get up to the new Jedi Order. Thanks for watching, and as always, may the Force be with you.